One thing I love about summer is how easy everything feels. The days are a little more relaxed, and I find myself reaching for the same comfortable, go anywhere pieces again and again. That's why I keep coming back to Quince. They focus on well made essentials that naturally become those everyday staples you actually live in all season long. This ad may sound a little different because I'm recording it from Zaragoza, Spain, and I brought with me my new Quince Clubhouse golf shorts. And these are definitely going to be one of those comfortable pieces that I wear all summer. Everything at Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middleman, so you're paying for exceptional quality, not brand markup. And it's not just clothing. Quince has become a trusted favorite for everything from home to travel to everyday essentials. Make your summer wardrobe easier. Go to quince.com/traveler for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/traveler for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/traveler, and thanks to Quince for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Amateur Traveler, episode 1006. Today, Amateur Traveler talks about waterfalls and snorkeling, whales and turtles, hot springs and canyoning as we go to Dominica. This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler. Let's talk about Dominica. I would like to welcome to the show Sam Williams from Milwaukee, who's come to talk to us about the island of Dominica. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And what is your connection with Dominica?
So my wife's college roommate is from there and had always told us we should go. My wife and I have always wanted to go. And every year for spring break, we do a quick Google flight search on Caribbean islands, and wherever the cheapest one is, we go. And this one happened to be Dominica, and we were excited and booked it.
Dominica. Oh, so am I saying it wrong? Okay.
It's Dominica.
I
Many people
have run
corrected
across
me.
this before that I have been known to say that island name wrong. Okay. Dominica, I will try and do better. Cool. And why should someone go to Dominica? Not just because they found a Google flight search.
If you want Caribbean island feel, but totally different than most of the islands, instead of beaches, there's jungles and mountains and waterfalls. And outside of cruise days, there's very few other tourists on the island. So I'd say unspoiled Caribbean, which is hard to find these days. Dominica's your best bet.
And you say outside of cruise days, and that's where it gets a little tricky. How do we know when it's going to be outside of cruise days?
Yeah, so if you just Google Dominica cruise schedule, there's 2 or 3 websites that will show you what ships are in port and when. When we were there, it was like Saturdays and Wednesdays, but it varies throughout the season.
Yeah.
And even on cruise days, just find some stuff that might be a little more strenuous or off the beaten path that the cruise ships might not have time to do, and you're going to have it alone.
Got it. So the day that we're going to visit the port city is going to be on a non-cruise day.
Yep.
But the day we're going to be the far side of the island, a cruise day would be great.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Excellent. Well, what itinerary are you going to recommend for us? Oh, wait, did we do the why should? Yes, we did.
Yes.
What itinerary are you going to recommend for us?
So we got a week itinerary. So getting there is probably the trickiest part. There's not a ton of flights. You're kind of limited to American Airlines has 1 or 2 flights a day from Miami. And then United runs 2 flights a week, one on Saturday, one on Wednesday. And then you can also hop from some small Caribbean island airlines too. But the primary ones are Miami and United for the US.
Okay.
So we're going to start on a Saturday. You're going to get there sometime in the early afternoon. And the thing about Dominica is the airport is on the far side of the island away from Roseau, which is the capital. It may not look like a big island. It's very mountainous. There's a lot of switchbacks. So it actually takes a long time to get from one side to the other. So it's about an hour and 15-minute drive from the airport up here in the northeast down to Roseau, which is in the southwest.
Got it. And I'm assuming that's because the only part of the island flat enough for an airport was just not near the capital? Yeah.
Correct. Then they're building a second. They're building a new one with a longer runway,
Oh,
even
okay.
further up north, that's scheduled to open in 2027. And the goal is wide bodies will be able to land there now.
Got it.
So your first day you get there, you're going to grab your rental car. I would recommend having a rental car. There are minibuses, but they don't run very frequently. So rental car is your best bet. Grab the rental car, and I'm going to recommend you head towards Roseau and base yourself in the Roseau area. The west side of the island tends to have the most stuff to do and it's got the most accommodations. So you're going to take it easy the first day. You're going to get your rental car. You're going to stop at the grocery store right outside Roseau and then head to your Airbnb and just kind of relax until you get ready for your first full day.
Okay. And Airbnb, you just personally Airbnbs, or there's a particular reason you're recommending that
No,
in
I use
Roseau?
Airbnb and VRBO interchangeably. I just call
Okay.
Airbnb. So rental house.
Right,
I'd
a
say
hotel
rental
though.
house. Yeah, there's
Okay.
not a couple hotels. It depends on what you want. There's more and more resorts being built there. So if
Yeah.
you want the resort feel, that's certainly an option. There's an Intercontinental, there's Jungle Bay. Not a ton of hotels. There's kind of one in downtown Rousseau. But if you want to rent a car and explore on your own, I'd recommend a rental house. So day one, first full day, I'm going to recommend you drive north up to the Portsmouth area, which is about hour to hour and a half straight up the west coast, stopping along the way at a lot of attractions. So this will kind of get you a feel for the island, and it's not too strenuous of a driving. It is the left side of the road, but you kind of hug the coast on this day, so it's not too many switchbacks or anything like that. It's a good way to get used to the island. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is stopping at Indian River, which is just outside Portsmouth, about an hour from Roseau. Indian River is one of the freshwater rivers on Dominica. And this is not going to surprise you. Just like Antigua says they have 365 beaches, Dominica says they have 365 freshwater rivers to explore,
Okay.
which is, I don't know if that's true, but there are a lot. So, Indian River is a wildlife sanctuary. I don't think it's officially a national park, but similar to a national park. And it's one of the only navigable rivers on Dominica.
Hmm.
So, you start on the coast and you make your way up the brackish water, checking out the wildlife and plants on the way. And then you end about a mile up the river at the Bush Bar, it's called, which is just a little local bar. They have a rum punch they're famous for. And then there's some local artisans there selling some handicrafts.
You said you head up there. Did we rent a boat or did we take a tour or how did we get up there?
Yes, we rented a boat. So this
Okay.
brings up a couple important things about Dominica is one, this is considered one of their national sites. So you need a site pass, a national site pass.
Okay.
Lots of options for that. You can get a single site pass, which is $8. You can get a day pass, which is 20, or you can get a week pass, which is 50. So you kind of want to figure out which attractions or sites require a pass, and you can figure out before you get there what's the most economical one to buy. Each person needs it. We have two small kids. Everywhere we went, they kind of gave us different pricing. So my youngest was always free. She was 5. And then the 7-year-old, sometimes she was half price, sometimes full price. It just depended on who was taking the ticket.
Huh. Okay.
So you get your site pass and then you go to the boat launch and there's tons of guides there. You have to take a guide. They grab one of the rowboats, no motors allowed, and then they paddle you up the river.
Got it. Okay. So you got a guide and a boat. Okay.
Yeah, and very knowledgeable. We saw crabs, iguanas, birds, fish, explain some of the plants. And then I don't know if people are Pirates of the Caribbean fans. One of the Pirates of the Caribbean scenes was filmed there. There's still a little shack that they go by and people get a kick out of that.
Cool.
So that's really neat. I'd recommend the rum punch. It's good. It's different. It's spicier than most of the ones I've had, but a cool setting. After that, make your way further up north. You can kind of do three things here. You can go to Cabritz National Park, which is a national park with a fort in it and some good hiking trails. That's a great way to spend a day. We didn't do that, but others did. You can go to Badaboo Beach. This is probably the most famous beach on Dominica. If you think of a jungle beach, kind of secluded with rocks on either side, and then palm trees and jungle behind it, that's Badaboo Beach. It's also one of the only beaches on the island with white sand. People really like it. It's good pictures. You got to park and walk about a half mile. And then the other thing you can do is if you're a big birder or you like hiking, Syndicate Falls is up there. Syndicate Falls is a waterfall you hike to, and it's got your best opportunity to see the Dominica parrot, which is a rare bird species.
Okay.
So, depending on what you want to do, I'd say that would be your early afternoon option.
Which one did you do?
Uh, yes, we did neither of them because we got a late start in the morning. I would have picked Syndicate Falls. It's supposed to be really pretty, and I think it would have been cool to see the parrot. We actually went to lunch at a place called Keeping It Real, which is one of the more well-known beach bars there or beach restaurants there. And you know it's good because we got there at 2 and they said, "Hey, the fish hasn't arrived yet. Are you good waiting till 3? We think that's when it'll be here." So get ready for some waits. The last thing we did then is we turned around and we came back, and there's a beach called Moreau Beach, Mero, and it's a black sand beach. There's not a ton of sandy beaches in Dominica. It's a very rocky island. So this is the one where locals go to swim a lot. Lots of beach shacks if you want to get food, drinks, whatever, and a really good spot to watch the sunset. So we parked there for a few hours and just relaxed and did some swimming to end our day.
Okay.
So your next day, Monday, I would time this with a non-cruise day because I think you're going to get a better experience. We started our day with whale watching.
Okay.
Dominica is very well known for whale watching. Interesting fact, it's one of the deeper islands, or the water's deep off Dominica, and so there's a
Okay.
year-round population of sperm whales. It's the only Caribbean island with a year-round population of sperm whales. And then
Hmm.
humpbacks come as well in December to April, as well as dolphins and pilot whales and things like that. So we did that with Waitakabuli tours. Waitakabuli is a famous trail on the island, and you'll see it all over the place. So Waitakabuli tours, you meet at the ferry terminal. It's about a 3.5 hour excursion, if you will. And you go out, you look for whales. They stick the sonar thing down. You can listen for them.
Hmm.
We saw humpbacks, we saw sperm whales, and we saw beaked whales as well. So we saw 3 different types of
Oh
whales.
wow. Okay.
It's not
Only
guaranteed.
only one of those have I ever seen, and that's
Yeah, it was
the
cool.
humpbacks. Interesting.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed. It's like an 85% success rate. So we
Oh,
were
that's
lucky.
pretty
The
good.
day before, they didn't see any,
Hmm.
but still really good. Couple things to note on that. I say the non-cruise ship day, there were only 7 people on our boat. So we were in a fairly small Boston whaler type boat. You could see everything and you weren't crowding for pictures. I've heard that if they take a cruise excursion, they can get a bigger boat with 20 to 30 people. So it can be a little bit tougher to get good photos or see. So I really liked it on the smaller boat. Bring sunscreen, a hat, a shirt, bring water. They have water, but I'd bring it just in case. And then bring some cash to tip the guide at the end.
Okay.
But overall, really good time. You can swim with the humpbacks, like snorkel with them. We didn't. There are some very high end photography liveaboards where you do it for 5 or 6 days, and that's what you do down there, snorkel with the
Oh wow.
humpbacks and try to get pictures. There was a group that was doing it just a day trip, and our guide said not the most ethical. So I just would do your research before you book a 3 hour snorkel with the whales. They were riding up pretty close to the whales and jumping very close, and it looked a little questionable to me,
Okay.
but really fun. Kids loved it. So we got back right around 12:30. You're in downtown Roseau. There's not a ton going on in downtown Roseau. It's pretty quiet, pretty sleepy. We walked around for a little bit. There's a little market by the cruise terminal. That was fine. Probably like most cruise ship terminal markets. I would do it if you were there. I don't know if I'd seek it out.
So cruise ship terminal market to me says tourist items,
Yeah.
T-shirts, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't, I probably
Goods
wouldn't buy
from the
stuff there.
indigenous people of China.
Yeah. So we walked that a little bit. Kids liked it. And then we had lunch at kind of the one hotel downtown is the Fort Young Hotel. And it's nice. You can sit right on the water. It's a dive hotel, but we had lunch there and that was really fun. So would recommend that. We left Rousseau then. If you wanted to stick around Rousseau, the botanical gardens are supposed to be really nice. I drove through them and they looked lovely. So would definitely be an option if you're really interested in kind of the flora of Dominica.
Okay.
We opted to go to Champagne Beach instead. Champagne Beach is famous for the volcanic activity underneath it. There's vents and bubbles come up like you're in a glass of champagne. It's pretty unique. I was a little bit like, is this going to be cool or not? But it was. I actually was glad we did it. A couple things about that. Not a ton of parking. You got to kind of just park along the road, and it's easy to miss if you're not paying attention. There is a sign, but like I said, most Caribbean islands where this is one of their more famous landmarks, there'd be a big parking lot. There's not. So just have an eye out for it. It's a really rocky shoreline. Like most of the snorkeling here, I'd recommend having Tivas or some sort of closed toe sandal that you can walk on the rocks
Got
out
it.
to and snorkel. It's pretty painful otherwise. And then, like I said, this was one that has the site pass. I can't remember how much it was,
Uh,
but we went later in the day and they were gone when we left. And I kind of asked the guys, like, yeah, if you get here after like 3:34, they're gone, so it's free. So if you want to save some money, Champagne Beach, get to around 4 o'clock and they won't collect a fee. There is a little bar down there that serves some snacks. There is snorkel rental equipment sometimes. It wasn't open when we were there because it wasn't a cruise day. So I would
Got it.
either get that lined up somewhere else or bring your own. And then in terms of finding the bubbles, it actually took me 2 or 3 trips to find them. So I was told you have to go to the very far end of the beach, which I did, and you'll see people down there. And I still was like, oh, I saw 2 or 3 vents, and I was like, that's okay. And then if you go around even further past where you can walk to, that's where there's 50 to 100 vents, and you do feel like you're in a glass of champagne. So basically go as far down the beach as you can and then swim out even further down the beach, and that's where you'll find the true volcanic activity.
Okay. And in terms of the swimming in a beach like this, a little less protected for a 5 and a 7-year-old, I'm thinking you're keeping a pretty close eye on them on a beach like this.
Yeah, we were. So they didn't want to swim that much because of the rocks, but my 7-year-old
Yeah.
does like snorkeling a lot. So she had like
Mhm.
little floaties on, and
Got
then
it.
I just kind of stayed near her, and she was totally fine. She was delighted by it. So
Okay. So the
it
water
can
wasn't that
be,
rough. It's just the footing and such that is a little more challenging.
yes, I would say getting in can be a little scary is not the right word, but it feels a little rough getting in because the waves are hitting the rocks. But kind of
Okay.
once you're in past the first initial 5 or 10 feet, it feels very calm.
Got it.
So I wouldn't be overwhelmed by the waves, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
That was a full day. You'll be exhausted after that.
You may have heard about Built as the loyalty program that lets you earn points on rent wherever you live. Well, they just leveled up even more. As of 2026, homeowners can also earn up to 1.25x points on their mortgage payments. This is thanks to Built's 3 new credit cards: the Palladium card, Obsidian card, and Blue card. All 3 turn your housing payments, rent or mortgage, into flexible rewards, so you can choose the card that fits your lifestyle without missing out on points and exclusive benefits. Built points can be redeemed at top airlines and hotels, Amazon.com purchases, future rent payments, and more. Built points have also been ranked by top publications as the industry's most valuable point currency. Your housing payment is already your biggest expense. Make it your most rewarding. Find the card that fits your lifestyle and apply today at joinbuilt.com/traveler. That's joinbilt.com/traveler. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. Terms and limitations apply. Subject to approval and eligibility, Built cards are issued by Column NA, member FDIC, pursuant to license from MasterCard International Incorporated. There are things in life you don't want to be transparent, like your swimsuit or your search history. But when it comes to your wireless bill, transparency is everything. That's why Mint Mobile's wireless plans have no gimmicks and no gotchas. Just high-speed data and reliable coverage on the T-Mobile 5G network. And right now, all plans are $15 per month, even unlimited. And that's one of the reasons I was looking into Mint Mobile even before they approached me about being a sponsor, because I was transitioning from high tech to being a travel journalist and wanted to save money on my monthly bills. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/traveler. That's mintmobile.com/traveler. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/traveler. That's it. There's no catch. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months, plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy, including up to 20 gigabyte hotspot. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com for more information. And thanks to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler.
So then your next day, which would be a Tuesday if you're getting there on Saturday, this was a cruise ship day when we were there.
Yeah,
So we ended up going to Middleham Falls. Middleham Falls is like a jungle hike in the middle of the island up in the rainforest, about 2 to 2.5 miles each way. I wouldn't say strenuous, but there is some rock scrambling. You cross some rivers. It rained the whole time we were there because we were in the rainforest. So
right. It
wear
it
proper
does that
footwear.
in the
Yeah, exactly. But our kids did it and they had no problem. A truly gorgeous waterfall. It comes off the side of a jungle cliff into this pool. We're the only people there. Really pretty. Would really recommend it. Couple things about it. If you read online, it says you can swim in the pools below. Technically, you can. It's a bit of a hike down from the viewing platform to the swimmable pools
Ah, okay.
with little kids and even me with how wet it was from the rain. Like it didn't feel like a great idea, but you certainly can. So you can do that. You do go on a section of the Waitakabuli Trail, which is kind of neat. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Chris, but
I am
it
not.
is it's the Caribbean's version of the Appalachian Trail.
Okay, so it's segments then.
Yes, there's 14 segments, I believe, starting from the south east tip of Dominica and ending in the northwest.
Okay, so I really got the impression it was multi-island, but it's all
No,
on
no, just
Dominica. Okay,
Dominica.
got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's lots of cool sections. There's not much about it. You can find what it is, but there's not a ton of people that have done it the whole way. And I think it would be pretty wet. And some of the more remote ones could get a little overgrown. But you are in a section of this if you want to say you hike the Waitakabuli Trail.
Okay. I see I hiked Kilimanjaro. I didn't hike to the top, but if that's the question, that's a whole different answer. But I hiked on Kilimanjaro. So
There you
this would be
go.
that sort of answer, right?
Yes, exactly. A couple things. The roads in Dominica are pretty good. Not a ton of potholes.
Uh-huh.
They're windy and they're steep. Once you get off the main road to get to Middleham Falls, that is the roughest road I've been on in a long time. Missing sections. Just take it slow. Take it really slow. Make sure you avoid the potholes. There were a couple times I'm like, there's no way this can be the road we're on. We have to have got lost. But no, just keep going. You'll find the trailhead. And at the trailhead, they're building a new resort in Dominica.
Okay.
It looks like Hobbiton, basically. It's like dome things under grassy mounds. And that's how it's being described as like a little hobbit resort. I don't know when it's supposed to be done. It's really weird looking. I think it'll be cool eventually, but progress looked really slow when we were there. So it could be a while before that thing's done.
Huh.
So that took us to the middle of the day. And then we decided to stay in that area. And there's a lot of things to do in that area. We went to Trafalgar Falls after that. Trafalgar Falls is arguably one of the top two most famous sites in Dominica. There's two waterfalls. There's the Mother Falls and the Father Falls. And I got to get this right. The Mother Falls is the shorter one on the right, and that is
Okay.
cold water. The Father Falls is the taller one on the left, and that actually puts out hot water.
Huh.
The-
Hot as in too hot to touch or
no, like 80 degrees, maybe 80, 90
oh,
degrees.
okay.
So
Interesting.
not quite hot tub hot, but that one does have good infrastructure. So there is a big parking lot. There's a little visitor center. You pay your fee or you show your pass. And then it's maybe a 10-minute walk on a boardwalk to the base of the falls. Gorgeous view from the falls. You can see them both come down. You can then walk down and you can actually rock scramble up to the base of each falls if you want. They have guides there to guide you if you'd like. We saw people do both. We saw people do it themselves. We saw people take a guide. We went up a little way on our own. We never anticipated going up the whole way with the kids, but they wanted to get in the river a little bit. So we did that. And the water was a little bit warm. So it was kind of cool.
Hmm.
So I thought that was neat. I would probably take a guide if I went up to the top, and they're not that expensive, but it's only like a 10-minute walk to Trafalgar Falls. So if you're more adventurous, it could feel like I drove all this way just to look at a waterfall for 5 minutes. So if you want to add something on, hike up the waterfall.
Okay.
I will mention we stopped at a restaurant called the River Rock Cafe restaurant, which is right south of Trafalgar Falls. I would say it's located for tourism, but it's family owned and the food was really good. So it's one of those places I was a little hesitant to eat at. Is this just designed for the busloads of people that come up here? But would recommend. They have a homemade Creole sauce that they put on their fish and chicken. And actually, that was really good. So if you're looking for lunch in that area, would recommend the River Rock Cafe.
Okay.
So we weren't done with the day yet. We had one more activity in the area. There's a hot springs area in that area, probably 3 or 4 different hot springs that you can go to, all very similar. The pools might look slightly different, but it's the same concept. We chose Tia's Hot Spring, a couple others in the area. I think it's personal preference on what you want. At Tia's, it's like a garden feel, and then there's 5 or 6 different pools, all of varying temperatures. So you've got a cold pool, you've got a lukewarm pool, you've got a hot pool, and you've got a really hot pool. I like heat. I love hot tubs. I couldn't even get in that one.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I don't know who goes in that. I would stand in it for 20 seconds and be like, this is too hot for me. but very pretty. Like I said, gardens everywhere. There's a little river that runs right by it. It was a great way to end the day. Just relax in the hot springs. These are probably not what most people think for hot springs. They're murky, minerally water. It's not clear, fancy spa water. It's pumped straight from the ground. So it doesn't smell like eggs like sulfur. It just smells minerally. But if you were thinking like resort spa and you came and saw the brown, muddy water, you might be a little bit taken aback.
I appreciate you setting our expectations appropriately.
But fun, very fun. That's a good spot too to remind people cash is king on Dominica. Places do take cards, but a lot of places only take cash. So definitely have some cash available at all times. We went to the ATM a lot more than I think we thought we were going to. So good to have cash. A lot of
And
places
the
take you.
ATM was easy to find in Rousseau, I'm assuming.
Yep. And the grocery store would had one too. So we had to stop for groceries a couple times and we just grabbed cash there. And then a couple gas stations had them too. So they were
Okay.
good to have. Currency, good time to talk about currency. They take US dollars and they take Eastern Caribbean dollars.
Mm-hmm.
The exchange rate's roughly 270 to 1, but most places kind of rounded down to 250 to 1 for easy math. So we paid mostly in Eastern Caribbean dollars because you'd save a buck typically. So typically it was like 10 Eastern Caribbean dollars or 4 US dollars. The
Okay.
10 Eastern Caribbean was a better deal because 4 US dollars is actually equivalent to 11 Eastern Caribbean. So would recommend paying in Eastern Caribbean if you can. You'll save a little bit of money that way.
Got it.
Day 5 is another day of snorkeling and canyoning. So we're going to kind of go coast to mountains all in one day. So we're going to start the day at Scott's Head. Like we talked about earlier, that's where the Waitakabuli Trail starts. It's the southernmost tip of the island. You actually cross a little spit of rocky land and you can drive across it. When I pulled up and the lady was like, yeah, just drive across that. I was, really? But it is not as bad as it appears. So you can drive across it. It's kind of similar to Champagne Beach. You drive across it, you park, and then you have to walk to the far end of the beach. And there's really good snorkeling there. Once again, similar to Champagne Beach, it's a little rough getting in because that's where the waves hit. But once you get past where the waves are kind of crashing on the rocks, nice and calm, really healthy coral reef, and a great place to see turtles.
Oh, great.
So we were the only people there the whole time. We were there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and had the whole beach to ourselves. Once again, not a beach you're going to lay on because it's rocky. So have your closed-toed sandals, but a really pretty beach to do some snorkeling on. My kids love sea glass, and both Champagne Beach and Scott's Head had pretty unbelievable sea glass.
The
So,
funny thing about that is that sea glass means that it's usually a place where the locals like to drink through
yeah.
their beer bottles in the surf. So, and if you find sea glass, you may also find sharp glass that hasn't
Yep.
become sea glass yet. So, wear those shoes. Yeah.
My daughter goes, there's so much green. Why is there so much green? And I was like, well, yeah, because the beer bottle, local beer bottle here is green.
Yeah.
So, but Scott's Head, so it has the beach. It also has a fort or like a lookout up top. Mountain's not the right word, but a pretty steep hill as well. So we hiked up there, explored around, really good views of the island. It's a steep hike up, but it's not long. So would recommend that too. You get some really good views of the ocean and then the mountains of Dominica. The rocky thing you drive out on, if you're looking back at the island, so you're looking north, to your left is the Caribbean Sea and to your right is the Atlantic Ocean. So it's the divider between the two.
Got it.
So that was really pretty. That was a good way to spend a morning. We had it all to ourselves, and that was fun. So then in the afternoon, we're going to do what I'm told is Dominica's most popular adventure. We're going to do some canyoning. So have you done canyoning before?
I have, not in the Caribbean.
Okay. So you're probably familiar with it, but essentially you hike through a canyon in the river. So you
Right.
swim, you jump off waterfalls, you rappel down waterfalls, you float through really narrow gaps in the rocks.
Were
I
you
call
only going down the river?
We are going down. Yep.
Oh, I've done it up and down, which is a little
Okay.
more strenuous.
Yeah. Yep. So mostly just jumping, rappelling, things like
Yeah, yeah.
that. It's Extreme Dominica is the company that is the most well-known one to use. Really well-run operation. I found out when I was talking to a lady that owns it is the guides for Extreme Dominica are actually the water rescue people for the island of Dominica. So if a car gets into a river, they call these
Okay.
guides to get them. So feel really safe about it. You have a couple options. There is, I'll call it the beginner option, which is just like a standard canyoning, still adventurous, but the standard canyoning, jumping off the waterfalls, whatever. Then they have what they call the advanced one, and you actually end by rappelling down Trafalgar Falls, all 120 feet of the
Oh
tall
my
one.
gosh.
It looked like a lot. So I saw people at Trafalgar Falls and they said it was a lot of fun. I didn't pick that option. But if you want a little more adventure, that's a pretty famous thing to do is rappel down Trafalgar Falls.
Hmm.
Couple things about the canyoning. There is a training, so don't feel like, oh my God, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm doing. They have a whole training facility built there and you do 15, 20 minutes of training. Like I said, the guides are really good.
Well, and the
They have great,
website has some great videos of what you're going to be doing and how they're teaching you and things. So that would be a little reassuring.
yes, exactly. And bring water shoes. If you have a GoPro, bring a GoPro. If you want a waterproof camera, bring that. You can rent them there, but
Hmm.
if you have one, you might as well bring it. Bring a little backpack, bring a towel, all that stuff. I will say, Chris, in full transparency, it flooded and our trip got canceled. So I did not get to do the canyoning, unfortunately. It was the thing I was looking forward to the most. So
Yeah.
a little bit of a bummer. They were really good about, hey, you can come back tomorrow. We'll get you back in. I couldn't, just the way our trip was working out. I
So it
had blocked
might
that
be better
day.
than to do it the first part of the week if that's the one we really
Yes.
want to do, then it sounds.
Yep. And book
Okay.
early. Like I struggled to
Yeah.
find availability when I was looking like a month out. So book as early as
Okay.
you can. But yeah, but once again, you want to talk about safety, right? The fact that they didn't even send us and they just said, hey, it rained too much yesterday and it's rained too much today. Like we don't feel safe sending you guys. So book
Yeah.
early.
That's good.
Yes.
You want people
Yes.
concerned about that.
Right. I'd say the morning is probably your better bet too. I was originally in the morning and got bumped to the afternoon. The morning, one, there's less rain in the morning typically. And
Okay.
two, if they have to delay you, they can continue to delay you a couple more hours. In the afternoon, you can only be delayed so long until darkness hits.
Right.
So morning would be what I would say is what you should do if you really want to do it. Morning on a Monday if you want to do it that badly, just in case.
Okay.
But really cool. So that would kind of wrap up your Wednesday.
Before you go too far away from this, looks a little more technical than what
Yeah.
I did, which was in Jordan. And the other advantage it has is I did the Wadi Mujib experience where you're going up and down the river in this narrow slot canyon. And then I did the Dead Sea with its really high salt
Oh.
and found out how many times I'd scraped myself doing canyoning. So this seems like it might be superior in two ways to that. So
Okay. It's good. My kids didn't want to do it, so it was just going to be me on my own. But they said, like, because I said, oh, I have a 7 and 5 year old. And they're like, oh, you should have brought them. And I'm like, well, it said 6 and above. And they're like, nah, the 5 year old would have been fine. So if you call and talk to them and you're good with it, it sounds like kids can do it.
interesting.
So something to consider for the more adventurous kids out there. So day 6, which is Thursday on my itinerary, we're actually going to leave our rental home and we're going to drive to the east side of the island. Like I said, there's not a ton going on the east side. It's more wild because of the Atlantic Ocean and there's a lot of cliffs. But there is one really important thing on the east side, and that's sea turtles. It's one of the most
Okay.
famous spots for sea turtle nesting, I think, in the world. And we'll get to that in a second. But the drive over to Rosalie Bay is where you're going to stay is about an hour-ish, hour and a half, depending on where you're staying outside Roseau. The thing about Dominica is there's only 5 roads. So
Yeah.
even though it may look close on a map, we were only, as the crow flies, it looked like it was only 15 miles. We had to go all the way back to Rousseau, all the way back up, and then loop back down because those are the only roads that exist. So things might look close, but you might not actually be able to get to them. So on the way there, there's actually a lot of stuff to do. I call this day waterfall day. So
Okay.
I would do this on a non-cruise day if you can, because you'll have a lot of the waterfalls to yourself. The first thing we did was we stopped at a waterfall called Spanny Falls. Spanny Falls is actually privately owned. It's on private land. You pay at Spanny's convenience store. So you just pull along the side of the road. There's a big yellow convenience store. You pay there, and then he lets you back on his. It's actually a very nice path. He's done a nice job. And you walk down a trail, and here's the movie Fern Gully. It reminded me of.
Okay.
There's jungle coverings everywhere, and this waterfall just appears into this emerald pool. So really pretty. We were the only people there for the first half hour, and you can swim. Water's not too deep, but deep enough you can swim. So we had a little picnic. We swam. We had a great time. But that just shows if that's anywhere, if that's in Costa Rica, there's 60 people there, and we had the whole thing
Right.
to ourselves. So really nice.
You've heard me talk about OneSkin before, and whether you're someone who tries every new skincare product that hits the market, or you've been using the same thing or two things for years, at some point, most of us realize our skin just isn't keeping up with the way it used to. As we age, some skin cells stop functioning the way they should. Longevity scientists call them zombie cells, and they're a major driver of visible signs of aging. And with summer here, that matters even more because up to 80% of visible skin aging is linked to sun exposure. That's why OneSkin's new limited edition summer bundles have you covered. They pair OneSkin's skincare essentials with SPF products, so the OS1 peptide can help address the visible signs of UV aging, while SPF helps protect against future damage. It's a complete system to help summer-proof your skin, so be sure to check out the summer bundles before they're gone. I'm spending more time these days thinking about skincare and about sun protection. Born from over a decade of longevity research, OneSkin is helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. For a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off code TRAVELER at oneskin.co/traveler. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code TRAVELER. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support this show and tell them I sent you. And thanks to OneSkin for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler. Whether I'm going to my local tandoori chicken wrap place or buying something from a food truck, quite often I find myself using Square because vendors are discovering that Square gives them the ability to have payments, point of sale, inventory, staffing, and other online sales in one system. Its AI power tools automate routine tasks, giving business owners more time. What you don't see is that on the back end, real-time insights help you make smarter business decisions and connect you easily with apps you already use. Choose from 3 simple plans: free, plus, or premium. Sellers using Square software see 9% higher sales on average. If you're starting a business or running one that deserves better tools, Square helps you sell, manage, and grow without slowing down. Right now, you get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/traveler. That's SQUARE.com/GO/traveler. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today.
There's also an Upper Spanny Falls. You can get to
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Do I have to stop at the upper Spanny
No,
convenience?
no, he'd probably like that though. He'd get some more money. But no, there's a rope and you scramble up these rocks and up the side of this cliff and then hike through the woods. We didn't do it. There's no way a 5 and 7-year-old could have done it, despite them saying they could have. But it's supposed to be pretty. I don't think it's too long of a walk. But if you want a little bit more hiking or strenuous activity, you can go to the Upper Spanny Falls.
I saw pictures that looked strenuous.
Yes. Mhm. It was one of those things, as we were leaving, a couple came down and they went up there. And watching them go up, I was like, okay, maybe it's not as bad as it looks. Because they didn't use the rope as much as I thought they did. They kind of scrambled with
Oh,
their
okay.
hands.
Interesting.
It's the way down is what I was more worried about. That seemed harder, but you certainly can go up there. Spanny himself is a really nice guy. He is famous for making his own bush rum. So basically, overproof rum with, you can put whatever you want in there, like fruits or anise or whatever to kind of make it flavored. We tried the honey one and we didn't finish it because we still had to drive. It's quite potent. It was good, but it's like it was like $1 or 2. So would recommend if you're interested in kind of the local food and drink. It was worth trying. Your next stop is called Jacko Falls. Very similar to Spanny Falls. This is a government owned site, so you can use a site pass if you want. Similar to Spanny Falls, hike back there. You can swim in the falls, really pretty. You're already in the area. You could easily skip Jacko or Spanny if you wanted. I'd probably lean Spanny, but Jacko's good too. And then, like I said, same thing. You can swim, you can have a picnic, whatever you want to do. Not a lot of people. The last stop on this day is Emerald Pool. And this would probably be the most famous site between this and Trafalgar Falls, the most famous site on Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to Spanny Falls. It's just more well built up. It's a shorter waterfall, but a prettier pool with some rocky caves behind it and jungle all around. And they built a viewing platform and steps down to go swimming in the pool. It's probably a 10-minute hike to Emerald Pool and then another 15-minute hike around the boardwalk back out. So like a 25-minute hike total. But Emerald Pool itself is gorgeous. Waterfall not as high as Spanny Falls or Jacko Falls, but really pretty with the jungle setting and the emerald water. We got there as a family was leaving. I remember this is probably the most famous site in Dominica. Got there as a family was leaving, had it all to ourselves for a half hour. And then as we were getting ready to leave, another family came. So very few people. I've heard similar to Champagne Beach, if you get there around 3, the ticket taker has gone home and you can do it for free again. So, something to consider. But I really liked Emerald Pool. I would spend a lot of time here if people are interested. Just like I said, get some local lunch from the grocery store or whatever and just have a nice picnic there. It's really cool and very pretty.
Okay.
The thing that surprised me, or I guess it was a bonus, is the hike back out is, like I said, 10 minutes on a boardwalk or crushed gravel path. And then I didn't realize how high up you were because there's a viewpoint and you go to the viewpoint and you're really high and it just kind of overlooks the whole mountain range of Dominica. Just a really pretty lush green rainforest view. So I thought that was a nice bonus.
Got it.
So from there, it's going to be evening. You're going to head to Rosalie Bay, a resort, eco
Hmm.
resort. Not a ton of places to stay on the west side or on the east side. Rosalie Bay is one of the places to stay. And Rosalie Bay is known for their turtles. And so you're going to get there in the evening. What you're going to do immediately is you're going to check in and you're going to be added to the turtle call list. So what they do is like
Okay.
the Northern Lights in Finland, they will call
Yeah.
you if a turtle comes
Got
onto
it.
the beach to lay their eggs. And they ask if
Huh.
there's any time. They're like, you have kids. Do you want to not be called after 11? I said, no, you can call us whenever you want. So like 3 a.m., they'll call you or come knock on your door and say, hey, there's a leatherback on the beach or whatever. And you
Huh.
can go out there and look at it. We were there for 2 nights. A turtle came up the night before we were there and then 3 nights after we left. So kind of like canyoning. I was really looking forward to that. We did not see any turtles, but they had some pictures from the one that had come up a couple nights ago. And it was really cool. If you have kids, especially, I think and our kids were devastated they didn't see a turtle, but they got really into conservation and things like that. So sign up for the list. Would highly recommend it.
Do
Really
you
neat
know
experience.
the percentage there? I remember the whale watch, we said
Yeah,
85%, which is good. Here it sounds like it's less.
it's less. The way the turtles work is the leatherbacks come every other year and they have 3 to 4 langs every 10
Mm.
days. So if leatherback A comes April 10th, it's probably going to come back April 20th. Now there's a number of
Mm.
leatherbacks that come, but just a quick view on their website, they actually show you when the sightings were. I'd say
Okay.
every 6 to 10 days, the turtle comes up.
Okay.
Now, sometimes it's back to back and sometimes it's an 11-day gap, right? So it's kind of hit or miss.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like I said, put your name on the turtle call. You're probably going to eat at Rosalie Bay because there's just nothing else around there, but nice enough resort. So the next day is your last day there, Friday. The first thing I'd recommend doing is heading to, it's called Barana Ate. I could get that wrong, but it's a living cultural center for the Kalinago people. The Kalinago people are the indigenous people of Dominica. Think of like the Caribs, and I think they're related to the Caribs, I believe. They have been, given's the right word, but basically they control the southeast part of Dominica. It's called the Kalinago
Hmm.
territory. It's really pretty. Not a ton there because it's indigenous land, but they built a cultural village to really show people what it was like when they were at their peak. It's really neat. They did a really good job. It's on a really pretty site too. I would take the tour. It's about half hour to an hour, and they explain here's the meeting house, here's kind of how they lived, here's who they lived with, here's the food. There isn't a ton of signage, so you can walk it yourself for sure, but
Mm.
you're not going to learn a ton. You can learn stuff in the small visitor center, but once you get out and do the little loop where they have all the structures, there's no
Yeah.
signs there. So unless you're really familiar with Kalinago culture and you can point out what that is, you need a guide.
Okay.
They're also indigenous guides, and so this is how they make money. So would recommend taking one anyway. The other thing about the Kalinago territory is they are real indigenous handicrafts, unlike the Chinese ones at the market. So if you're gonna buy stuff, I would really recommend saving your money and buying some stuff from the Kalinago territory.
Got
It's
it.
indigenous people making them. They're legitimate. They sell them at the cultural center. They're known for their baskets, like weaved baskets. So we
Yeah.
got a couple of those. And then they also have small tribal masks, which were pretty neat as well. So we got one of those too. So really cool. Would recommend doing that. And it's good to learn about the original inhabitants of the island too. So would recommend. That afternoon, we headed back to Rosalie Bay and we did a turtle talk. So Rosalie Bay partners with a turtle conservancy group to preserve the turtles and do breeding and stuff like that. And so one of two people will meet you in the hotel lobby, take you to the beach, and basically just go over all things turtles for about 2 hours. So we saw old nesting sites where you could see the
Yeah.
eggshells. We went over to the hut. They sleep on the beach every night to patrol to make sure no poachers come and also check the
Wow.
turtle eggs. Saw that. They had two leatherbacks come up. And so what they do with the leatherbacks, because they're the most endangered of the turtles, they actually dig up their eggs and move them to a sanctuary by the hut. So we got to see the sanctuary. I mean, it's just sand. You can't see eggs, but kind of neat to see that. And then they kind of go over the different turtles. So the leatherbacks are there earlier in the year. They're the rare ones. They're like the big, giant 1,000-pound turtles.
Yeah.
Then there's hawksbill and there's green turtles as well. They tend to come up and lay their eggs later in the year. I do think green turtles are a lot more common. When I gave you that
Mm.
6 to 10 day leatherback, that's leatherbacks. I think green turtles come up a little bit more frequently, but the leatherbacks tend to come up in that March, April, May timeframe. That runs from April to June is roughly the nesting season, and then July to October is the hatching season. So, depending on what you want to do, if you want to plan your whole trip around turtles, do you want to see them hatch or do you want to see them nest? Or hopefully see either one because there's no guarantee of them. But that's kind of neat. So, that's a neat thing. Kids loved it. They talk a lot about like conservation and picking up litter and invasive grasses on the beach and stuff like that. And you can just tell they're passionate, right? Like, this is the people's passion project. And the
Right.
lady who gave our turtle talk was like a Peace Corps volunteer 15 years ago who decided to stay. And now she lives in Dominica doing turtle conservation. So it's just a really neat experience.
Very cool.
The last thing you can do if you're interested, we did not, they were closed, is it's going to sound really weird because it sounded weird to me. As part of the conservation efforts to raise money, Rosalie Bay started a boutique distillery for rum.
Okay.
Um, you can do a rum tasting. It's open kind of limited hours, but you're welcome to go to the distillery. We were there on Good Friday. It was closed, so we didn't do it. But if you want to sample rum and support turtles at the same time, would recommend the distillery. We had a taste of it at the
Yeah.
restaurant. If it wasn't for a good cause, I don't know that I'd pay $90 for a bottle of rum that I thought was not super great, but it's just a unique thing they do. So that wraps up the itinerary. There's a couple other activities we didn't do, but I did want to mention because I think it could be really cool for people to do. We talked earlier about hiking sections of the Waitakabuli Trail. That's pretty popular. Different sections have different natural features like lakes and rivers and waterfalls. So you can kind of pick a couple sections if you wanted to. The other two hikes we didn't get to do, but I really would have liked to do, is there's two lakes that are famous up in the mountains called Boiling Lake and then Freshwater Lake. And there's some really good hikes around both of those. You can swim in Freshwater Lake. I don't think you want to swim in Boiling Lake for obvious reasons. But Freshwater Lake
The
looks
name,
really
at
pretty.
least, would discourage me. Yes.
Yes, but those are more strenuous hikes. Our kids probably could have done them, but it would have been a stretch for them. So we didn't do those, but we talked to other people and heard good things about that. There's a waterfall called Victoria Falls. That's supposed to be one of the more
Hmm.
strenuous hikes on the island, but also really pretty. So if you want a little bit more adventure, I think Victoria Falls is probably one of the better hikes to do. Scuba diving, we didn't do any scuba diving, but if you are a diver, you can go scuba diving with the whales. Fort Young Hotel, which is the one hotel in downtown Roseau, is a dive resort. So they
Yeah,
run a
you
lot of
mentioned that.
dive trips. So you could do some scuba diving. And then the one thing that we really tried to make time for, but just ran out of time, is there's a place called T2 Gorge. And it's kind of like canyoning, but you swim. So you get in the water at this little pool, and then you can kind of swim up a canyon to a waterfall. And it's a kind of narrow canyon. So a pretty cool thing. You get on inner tubes if you want and kind of paddle your way up. That would have been fun. We just ran out of time. That's right by Trafalgar Falls. So I think that would be a lot of fun. Somebody we talked to said the current can get kind of strong. So if your kids aren't strong swimmers or you're not a strong swimmer, you may not be able to make it all the way up to the waterfall, or just be careful. Get a life jacket or get inner
Hmm.
tube, or there's guides there as well. You can hire there. So, but T2 Gorge would have been something kind of neat. So those are all things that we just ran out of time for, but would recommend if people are interested in that.
Got it. Before we get to our wrap up questions, anything else we need to know before we go to Dominica?
I have a couple just quick hitters that are not in any particular order, but I'll just cover them. The rainy season is when you'd expect. It's the hurricane season, June to December.
Right.
So plan accordingly. It can rain at any time, especially up in the mountains and the rainforest. So I'd always have rain gear if you're going to do any hiking. It can be gorgeous on the coast and raining 5 miles away up in the hills. They drive on the left, so something to be aware of. They're
Ah, that's right. Former British. Okay.
Yep. So something aware of. So good news, they speak English. Bad news, not bad news. Driving the left. I'm sure you've driven. I don't find it that hard to adapt to the left hand driving, but just to be aware, there's not that many
Right.
roads. You're not really gonna get lost. Just follow the car in front of you. But the roads can be steep. So switchbacks a lot. Use your horn. It's not like a sign of anger. It's a sign of, hey, I'm coming around this corner. So that was what our rental car place said is like, hey, use the horn frequently. So we did. We honked a fair amount and people are very friendly. But to give you an example of when I say like steep and quite steep, our rental house was 15 minutes outside of Roseau. So just up the hill from Roseau.
Right.
Roseau is obviously at sea level. Our rental house was at 1,700 feet. So
Okay.
that was quite the 15-minute drive.
I'm seeing the tallest peak is 4,800 feet. So not quite a mile up, but getting pretty close to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the second tallest peak in the Lesser Antilles. So
That's
some height
right.
there.
Yeah, definitely. We talked about the cruise ship. We talked about, yeah, there's not a lot of roads, so you're not going to get lost, but have Google Maps just in case.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I mentioned, there's not a ton of restaurants. We cooked most nights. We would typically do lunch out if we could find one, but I wouldn't expect, oh, I'm going to hit these different beach restaurants every night because the pickings are pretty slim at night. So
Okay.
unless you're staying at a hotel with a restaurant, you might struggle to find dinner every night.
Interesting. Okay.
But those are my
Cool.
last kind of quick hitters.
Excellent. Well, we've got to our wrap up questions here. You've listened to the show before, you know what's coming. You're standing on the prettiest spot in all of Dominica. Where are you standing? What are you looking at?
I am at Spanny Falls. I
Okay.
am laying in the water. There's nobody else around, and I'm just kind of looking up at the jungle canopy overhanging me.
Excellent. And one thing that makes you laugh and say, only in Dominica.
Oh, that's a good
Besides my pronunciation of the island name.
one. No, yours is good. Probably just the food scene. So just two examples of we went to that restaurant. And he's, yeah, we don't have any food until 3 o'clock when the fish comes in. And then we went to another restaurant and said, hey, are you guys still open? And the lady goes, I think we might have one or two fish left. So just the very limited, like, yeah, you better get there while the supplies last.
Huh. Interesting. If you had to summarize the island in just 3 words, what 3 words would you pick?
Waterfall,
Okay.
rainforest,
Yep.
undiscovered.
Okay. Got it. At least on days when the cruise ships aren't there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Excellent. Our guest again has been Sam Williams. Sam does not have a blog yet, so we won't promote his blog until he creates one or does something else that he wants to promote later on. But Sam, thanks so much for coming on Amateur Traveler and sharing with us your obvious love for Dominica.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
At the Home Depot, get up to 15% off all installed carpet projects for a limited time. Featuring brands like LifeProof with pet-proof technology, Home Decorators Collection, and Traffic Master. Take your pick of carpet built for real life and designed for real comfort. Plus, with installation starting as low as 49 cents per square foot and a free measure to get you started, we'll handle the hard parts for you. Offer valid July 16th, 2026 through August 2nd, 2026. Exclusions apply. For licenses, see homedepot.com/license numbers.
Hey friends, Olivia from Ollie. Between new routines and the ultimate group project known as parenting, you need science-backed solutions that work with your life. That's where Ollie comes in. Start your mornings off right with multis made to support nutrition and immune health. Choose from our lineup of gut-supporting probiotics, and we've got occasional sleep support to help the whole fam chase their big dreams. Head back to class with the #1 gummy supplement brand. Stock up on ollie.com today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
My thanks to Sam and a special thanks to the patrons of the show who help support Amateur Traveler. If you're looking to become a patron of the show or just want to learn more, go to patreon.com/amateur traveler. There are still spaces available for the Bolivia trip in May of 2025. I hope you come join me. To learn more, go to amateurtraveler.com/trips or just drop me an email. I heard from recent guest Jonty Crane on the episode we did on Paris. Hi, Chris. Not mentioned in the episode was my favorite museum in Paris, the Musée de Quai Branly, the newest museum in the city. It was a pet project of former President Jacques Chirac. Its striking glass architecture and lush green living wall sits in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower. Inside, the dim atmospheric lighting and winding pathways create an immersive journey through an impressive collection of indigenous art, textiles, and artifacts from Africa, Asia, Oceania, and the Americas. Jonty. Thanks, Jonty. I did not know about that one. And with that, we're going to end this episode of Amateur Traveler. If you have any questions, send an email to chris2x@gmail.com, or better yet, leave a comment on this episode at amateurtraveler.com. And as always, thanks so much for listening.
I got to see one more cathedral. I got to sit in one more cafe. I know that I should be heading home, but maybe not today.
I'm David Pryor, a travel writer and founder of the travel company Pryor. I'm inspired by places, but also curious about people.
I was 19 years old. It was fantastic.
It is so foreign, and it felt so apocalyptic.
So here I am talking to culture makers about their stories, what they've discovered on the road, and trying to understand the nature of their curiosity.
Talk about where I saw culture for the first time.
That mushroom tart, it was like sex.
This is a show about how travel informs the story of our lives. This is Traveling Through. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.